The current minimum legal drinking age, also known as the MLDA, should remain at 21 because it is more effective when it is higher. Lowering the MLDA would lead to more health and safety issues, developmental problems, and it would make alcohol more easily accessible to those who are underage. And even though many argue that lowering the MLDA would make it better, it really will not. In general, drinking is not good for you, so drinking at a younger age poses even more risks and problems. A lower MLDA increases health and safety concerns. Health conditions related to underage drinking mainly affect the brain. Some of the health concerns related to those under 21 drinking, according to the CDC, are death from alcohol poisoning, unintentional injuries like crashing a car, falling, getting a burn, or drowning. Suicide is also a result from drinking, violence and fighting, sexual assault, academic performance problems, future alcohol dependency problems such as developing alcoholism and being addicted to alcohol, other risky behaviors like smoking, misuse of legal and illegal drugs, and risky sexual behaviors. Underage drinking can open up doors for experimentation with illegal substances like drugs, and that can lead to not only addiction to alcohol, but addiction to those other drugs. And no matter what age, but especially younger than 21 years old, alcohol impairs your brain, which puts you in danger of safety issues. Alcohol has the capability of blocking chemical messages in the brain. So when your brain is trying to communicate that something may not be a good idea, or something that you're doing to your body may be hurting it, the alcohol jumps in the middle of that chemical message and stops it. Well, not only stops it, but it can slow it down as well. With your decision-making abilities being impaired, it's a lot easier for you to, let's say, jump into the driver's seat of a car, and your brain tell you, yes, you can drive this car, when in fact you cannot. It can also make your impulsivity a lot higher as well, so you may be more impulsive and get violent with someone. The CDC reports that since the states have raised the MLDA to 21, there has been a 16% decline in motor vehicle crashes. The CDC also reports that in the 2017 Youth Risk Behavior Survey, they found that in the past 30 days, according to high school students, that 6% say that they have driven a vehicle while under the influence of alcohol, and 17% say that they have been in the passenger seat of someone who has been under the influence of alcohol in driving. Along with health and safety issues, there are also developmental issues involved with drinking alcohol at a younger age. Alcohol can dramatically impact the development that the brain is going through during adolescent years, according to the CDC and Britannica. Britannica reported that if the brain development is impacted by alcohol, there's risk for problems like future addiction to alcohol, dangerous risk-taking behaviors, reduced decision-making abilities, memory loss, violent acts, depression, and even suicide. A person is also more mature by the time they reach the age of 21. So let's say the MLDA was lowered to 18. When you're 18, you're just out of high school. You're entering the world and exploring it and finding yourself. So it's so much easier for you to get sucked into a bad life of drinking, and which can then lead to doing drugs. And as you can see with this 15-year-old brain, these are two 15-year-olds. This one is a non-drinker and this one is a heavy drinker. The non-drinker has more parts of the brain being active during an activity, whereas the heavy drinker has less parts of the brain active during heavy drinking. So drinking alcohol shuts down parts of the brain and does not let your body use those parts of the brain as well, or as often, I should say. On another note, lowering the age limit on alcohol allows for easier access by even younger individuals. One argument that Britannica pointed out is that if even younger adults are able to buy alcohol, then those who are even younger than they are going to have an easier time gaining access to the alcohol. Newly legal drinkers tend to buy alcohol for their friends who are not yet legal. and that just continually passes down until middle schoolers are able to gain alcohol, and this is known as the trickle-down effect. Britannica also made the point that there are different levels of initiation in our country for certain things. Like, for example, you can't buy a handgun, gamble at a casino, or even adopt a child until you are 21 years old. You also can't even rent a car until you're 25. You also can't run to be President of the United States until you are 35. The drinking age should be restricted like such things because of the personal responsibility that drinking places on you, the individual, and those who are around you. Given all the risks that are involved with drinking, people still believe that if the MLDA was lowered, that the risks would not be as bad. Even though it appears that the MLDA doesn't work in all situations, it's still helping with underage drinking. Many think that the MLDA should be lowered because it would reduce binge drinking and alcohol-related deaths, and given the fact that many disobey the law anyways, they feel that there's no point for the MLDA to be 21. According to NPR, 80% of college students say that they drink despite there being laws prohibiting them from drinking legally. However, even though there are some that disobey the laws, there would still be even bigger consequences if the MLDA was lowered. So let's say it's lowered to 18. There's going to be even bigger risks involving those younger than 18 than there are already now. Alcohol would become an even bigger issue for colleges to deal with on campuses, and even high schools to deal with on campuses if the MLDA were to be lowered to 21, or lowered to 18, excuse me. Now, I don't want you to think that I want all alcoholic drinking to be seen as bad and that the MLDA should be raised even higher than it is. Rather, I want you to see the importance of maintaining an MLDA of 21 to protect those who are at the most risk. The MLDA of 21 should remain to ensure that there aren't health and safety issues, developmental problems, and easier access to alcohol to those who are underage. Also, that just because the law is being disobeyed in some situations does not mean that it's not working in other situations to save lives. Drinking can be fun, but it should only be done by those who are of age and done by those who are capable of doing it responsibly.